لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد. Last dars we began by asking the brothers, how do you perform tayammum? And alhamdulillah, most of the brothers were wrong. And that's good. That's a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because one thing is that you don't know, and you know that you don't know, so you can learn. Another thing, and what the majority of our ummah is upon, is they think they know, when in reality they don't know. And sometimes we have brothers that ask us, what durus do you have? We tell them, alhamdulillah, we have like fiqh or aqidah or seerah, and they're like, I already know all that. MashaAllah. And then if you ask them, what is the difference between asma of Allah and the sifat of Allah, they won't know. And if you ask them what is the difference between Rahman and Rahim, either they won't know or they'll guess at it. Take a wild shot at it. And if you ask them what are the arkan of salah, they won't know. And if you ask them what are the faraid of wudu, they'll usually get it wrong. They'll think they know. So this is sad. Our ummah, we want new and exciting things. But the reality is those things that are fard on us, that are fardul ayn upon every single Muslim must know, we don't know. We want to find things to argue about. We want to find things to make fun of each other about. But we don't want to learn the ilm we need to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly. And that's sad. So that's why I'm glad we had this opportunity. And when I ask the brothers, how do you make tayammum? It's not to embarrass anybody, but to put us in a state where we can realize that we need to learn. So regarding tayammum, we're going to continue the chapter. We didn't finish it last dars, but I will summarize a little bit of what we did cover. And some things that we covered, but it was spread apart, so maybe when I put it together, it'll be more mufid, more beneficial for the tullab ilm. And some things from here you should be memorizing, inshallah. I'm not saying you have to memorize the whole matan, but at least the summaries. So first thing, what are the shurut, what are the conditions or preconditions in order to be able to perform tayammum? Some of the ones we didn't really get into because they're not in the matan, but I will bring to you for benefit. First thing, an-niyyah. Why? إنما الأعمال بالنيات وكل امرئ ما نوى. We know the famous hadith in al-Bukhari. So every ibadah requires a niyyah. Everything that's an ibadah in itself. And tayammum is an ibadah. It's something ordained in the Quran. So it requires a niyyah. Tayyib. Next, al-Islam. You have to be a Muslim. These ahkam are for the Muslim. And the kuffar, they don't make wudu, they don't have tayammum, they don't have ghusl. So one of the shurut for a tayammum is Islam. Third, bulugh. And you have to be baligh. Why? Because children that are under bulugh, salah is not fard on them. And if salah is not fard on them, they don't have to make tayammum. You can teach them, you can encourage them. And I want to clarify something. Just because somebody is not baligh doesn't mean that you shouldn't teach them good akhlaq, good ibadat, the correct way of making salah, fasting. And it doesn't mean it's okay for them to sin. It doesn't mean somebody is not baligh, you're like, it's okay, let them do whatever they want, lie, cheat. No. Because this is the hukuk of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us to live by the Quran and Sunnah, and our children should be taught this and enforce this. So when somebody is not baligh, for example, do you still teach them salah? Of course. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us that you should instruct the children to salah when they're 7 years old. And at 10, you should discipline them. There is the discipline of hitting if necessary for not making salah. Children are not baligh at 7 and 10, but the tarbiyah has to be there. And same as the ulama say for fasting, when the one who is physically able, at 7 you should start to encourage them to fast, and at 10 be strict with them. Other than those who are not physically able to, maybe there is some weakness in things. But this is a strong lesson to understand that even if something is not fard, doesn't mean that you don't have to do it. And even if it means that you are under bulugh, so your hisab is not like an adult, doesn't mean that it's okay to sin. Tayyib, the fourth, aql. And you have to be aqil. What does that mean? If somebody is mentally unable to comprehend right from wrong. Tayyib, I don't mean somebody's a little slow. Somebody may not be good in education. It doesn't mean they don't have to make salah. He flunked 6th grade, it's okay, he doesn't have to make salah. No. But somebody who cannot comprehend right from wrong, we don't make, Allah subhanahu doesn't make them mukallaf on having to do things that they are unable to comprehend. Somebody, for example, in a coma, you don't have to go to somebody in a coma and make wudu for them and throw dust on them or make them get up to make salah. No. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us a very practical religion. A religion that's very practical. Everywhere, at any time, you can practice. And people say, oh, this is the 21st, 22nd century. So what? Till the day of judgment, you can implement Islam. In every aspect of it. Tayyib, the fifth, بعد الاستنجاء أو استجمار. If you go for قضاء الحاجة and you want to make tayammum, then you should either make istinja, which is with water, but you may not have water. This is why we're talking about tayammum. In that case, you make istijmar, dry cleansing. But a Muslim is clean. A Muslim is clean. Kafir is filthy. Yes, I'm not afraid to say it. Najis, inside and outside. Inside there's the najasa of shirk and kufr. And outside is the najasa of the badan. You go here to the bathroom and a guy will go into a urinal next to you and you'll be washing your hands or something in the sink. He will stand there and he will urinate like an animal, standing. Urine splashing all on him. And then he'll want to talk to you while he's urinating. And then he will walk out without washing his hands, without washing his awrah, without making istinja, without making istijmar. And then you're like, Muslims, they're dirty. Muslims are clean. Alhamdulillah, inside and outside. Muslim, he is tahir, inside and outside. Muslim is never najis. Even in a state of hadath, he is never najis. And a Muslim, alhamdulillah, who practices the religion is pure. He makes wudu. He and she. He makes ghusl, shar'i ghusl. On Jum'ah, after Jama'ah, after Hayd, after Nifas, for so many, ihtilam, so many reasons where you have to make ghusl. Then there is mustahab ghusl on the times of Eid and things. And then performs wudu, makes istinja, makes istijmar, clean. The next is that there has to be a sabab for it. Tayyib. There has to be a reason to perform tayammum. Tayammum is not made illa bisababiha. What does that mean? Let's say if our brother Ammar wants to go make wudu. He has wudu. He's in a state of wudu. He just wants to go refresh his wudu. Can he? Yes. Is there thawab in it? Yes. When he's washing his limbs, his sins are being forgiven. Tajdeed al-wudu, renewing the wudu for each salah is mustahab. It's preferred. Let's say our brother goes and Asadullah, mashallah, he hits that treadmill until he breaks it. And he's sweaty. He doesn't have to make ghusl. But he wants to make ghusl. He wants to, because he's going to the masjid, he wants to smell nice. He goes, makes ghusl. Can he do it? Yes, alhamdulillah. If he does it with a good niyyah, he will have thawab for it. Tayyib, somebody wants to use siwak. They don't have to. They just want to. They want to cleanse their mouth. They want to please Allah. Can they do it? Yes. Let's say our brother Musa decides he wants to do tayammum. He has water, no problem. He decided, I want to go make tayammum. Can he do it? La. Tayammum is different. It is only done when there is sabab for it. What are some of the asbab we mentioned when there is no water? We mentioned all the dalail, ayat and things. I'm just summarizing. That was in the last dars. If you want to look at the proofs, watch the last video. So one is when there is no water. You can't find water at all. فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا الْمَاءَ فَلْيَتَمَمَّوْا سَعِيدًا طَيِّبًا. طيب. So from the Quran, the first thing is, if you seek for the water and don't find it. طيب. Second, you have water but you can't get to it. There is water but you're unable to get to it. Here again, you can perform tayammum. Third, there is water but there is a barrier from reaching to it. Yani one is that you can physically not get to it. Second is that it is there but there is something stopping you. For example, we said there is fear. There is an enemy. Any times of war, of khawf, of maybe you're in a bad neighborhood, and you try to go to a place and it's an alley and there's going to be something bad, you can't get to it. There is khawf. Here you have, if it's legitimate, you have a reason, even though there is water, because of khawf, if you cannot get to it, you can perform tayammum. And you mentioned the hadith that Imam Ahmad mentioned of the Sahaba regarding this. Next, it's too expensive. What does it mean too expensive? Yani where it is unreasonably expensive. Yani, for example, if you go and there's a water bottle for like $3 or $4, that's not too expensive. But you're going on the 8 and you stop at a gas station, there's no place to make wudu, there is no water source, and there's a guy with a water bottle, and you say, hey, can I buy that from you? And he says, yeah, $100. $100 for a bottle of water? Dhulm. So even if I have $100, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't allow you to become mazloom, to be oppressed. So here you say, no. If I can get to somewhere else where there's water, fine. Otherwise, make tayammum. Tayyib. The sixth reason, sickness. Maybe there is water. It is affordable. You can get to it. It's free. It's not too bad. Everything is fine. But you have pneumonia. Or you have some other sickness. May Allah protect us all. And if you make wudu or ghusl, because we mentioned tayammum can be done in place of ghusl, it may kill you. Like the hadith of the Sahabi we mentioned, the Sahih hadith. So here, this is another reason if you are unable to use the water due to a physical sickness that you have. The seventh, maybe there is severe cold. Meaning you may not be sick, but it's so cold that if you perform ghusl, for example, you'll get hypothermia. Yani you may not be sick, but it will make you sick. In that case, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the rukhsa of performing tayammum. The hadith of Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anhu and other were dalail for this. Eighth, you may have other health issues. What other health issues? For example, you are out somewhere traveling and you get to some water and it's there, it's cold, but it's not that cold, but you have an open cut. And here if you make wudu and that water gets on the cut, maybe it'll get infected. Or some other situation like this, that's a health issue where you're not able to make wudu. Now, here you can make tayammum, but we mentioned in that case, if it is wrapped up, then you perform the regular wudu, you make masha on it. We covered that under the bab of masha. If it's an open cut, like we're discussing, you cannot make masha on it, you can't touch it. So what do you do there? You make the rest of the wudu with water. Rest of the bottle, you make the wudu, you go around it. And then you make tayammum afterwards for the cut. Many people don't understand this fiqh aspect of it. Why? Because you have to do as much as you are able to. So if you're able to make the rest of the wudu, you make it. But if you didn't wash a place that's fard, and you didn't make masha on it, is your wudu complete? No. So that means you make the rest of the wudu, and then you make tayammum after that in place of what you cut. And you make the regular tayammum, you don't rub dust on your cut now. Tayyib, the last that we'll mention today is there is water, but it's not tahur. Tayyib. For example, we talked about you're going on the 8 to, I don't know why we're always on the 8, but and you're going on the 8 towards Arizona, and you're in the middle of the desert, car breaks down, may Allah protect you all, and me. And there's no store, there's no gas station, there are no houses, you're waiting there, no trucks going by, nothing. Time for salah comes in, and all you have is a bottle of lemonade. What do? You perform tayammum. Tayammum. Why? Because lemonade is not ma'a. And what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً. Water. If there was anything in place of water that could be used before tayammum, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have mentioned in the Quran to us. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had other drinks, nabidh and other drinks that were made with either honey or other things that were fermented, some of them not, some of them mixed with water and things. But Rasulullah did not allow the Sahaba to perform wudu with any of them, except tahur water, pure water. So maybe there is water, but it's najis. Tayyib? Now let me test you guys from our earlier durus. You are somewhere where there's only 2 bowls of water. Tayyib? You're not at home with running faucets and things. Maybe you're on the 8 again. 2 bowls of water. They look the same. One of them you know for sure is tahir. And one of them you know for sure is tahur. We discussed tahir and tahur, so you guys know what it is, right? Tahir is pure in itself but does not purify. And tahur is pure in itself and it purifies. So you have 2 bowls. You don't know which one is which. You know yaqeen that one of them is tahir and one of them is tahur, but you don't know which one is which. You got to make wudu. What do? Tayammum? MashaAllah Abdul Rahim. So you make wudu once with each one of them. Once with one of them and once with one of them. Why? Because one of the wudu is not going to be valid. But the other is. So you will be in the state of wudu. Next case. Complicated a little bit. 2 bowls of water. Same scenario. Except now you know one of them is najis. Pee was dropped in it. But you can't see it, it dissolved. So now 1 bowl of water is najis, it's less than qullatayn, and the other is tahur. What do you do now? Tayammum? You don't make wudu with both of them? MashaAllah. Why not? You're right, tayammum, but why? Because if you guess right and you get the najis one first and you do the tahur, you'll be okay. But if you guess wrong and the second one was najis, now you have najasa on you and your salah is batila. So what you do here, perform tayammum. Tayyib? Another scenario which I'll throw in is if there is water but it's not enough for you to be able to drink and make wudu from. Yani if you're just going somewhere and you have a bottle of water, you know you're going to get there, there's going to be water, you can perform wudu with it. But if you have a bottle of water and you're stuck on that 8 and you don't know when you're ever going to go and you're going to be very thirsty and it could harm you, it could kill you, then you save that water to drink and you perform tayammum. Last question before we move on. And I asked this one last time, so I hope you'll get it right, inshallah. You're on a boat in the middle of the ocean, salty ocean. You remember it, huh? All right. You're on the boat in the middle of the ocean. You only have a little bottle of water. Now, do you drink that water and make tayammum? Or do you make wudu with that water and not have anything to drink? Or what do? MashaAllah alaykum. Good thing you guys remembered. So you drink that water and you make wudu with the ocean water. It's tahur. Al-ma'uhu tahur. So, in that case, good thing you guys didn't fall for my trick question, mashallah. Tayyib. We mentioned, in summary, when you have to perform wudu, but you do not have the ability to. And regularly you can make wudu anyway. Like I said, Ammar just wants to have wudu, he has wudu, he just wants to renew it, no problem. But now you need wudu, whether it's to read Quran or for nafal salawat or for fard salawat, but you cannot. There's no water, or you're sick. You need to make tayammum. How do you make tayammum? You make it with the niyyah of the ibadah you're going to do. For example, I want to read Quran, and the rajih qawl is you need wudu to touch the mushaf. Tayyib? So now I cannot touch the mushaf without wudu. So I make tayammum to read the Quran in place of wudu. Can I go make salah with that tayammum? No. Why not? Why do you have to? What's your dalil? The dalil, as we covered in the last dars, is that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when you find water, your wudu, your tayammum is invalid. So that means that tayammum is not tahara in itself. Rather, it's in place of tahara. You are not in a state of tahara, you are in a state of rukhsa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a leniency in place of tahara. So you cannot do everything you would do with wudu. If you make tayammum to read Quran, you can only read Quran with it. If you need to make salah, you need to make a new tayammum with that niyyah. If you make tayammum for a fard salah, for dhuhr, asr, maghrib, isha, fajr, you can make the nawafil that are connected to it or in its time with that tayammum. Tayyib? So you make tayammum for dhuhr. Now, the time of dhuhr has not come in, but I'm in the desert, I know I'm going to need it. Should I go ahead and make tayammum? La. You wait till the time of that ibadah is in. Because this is not tahara in itself, it's a leniency. So maybe before that you'll find water. So you wait till the time of that ibadah comes in. For example, ishraq is nafal. Ishraq comes in, I want to make ishraq, I make tayammum, I make ishraq. Dhuhr comes in, I have not invalidated by tayammum, my tayammum is invalid anyway. The entrance of the next time will invalidate it. So you need to make a new tayammum for dhuhr. But now I make tayammum for dhuhr, the sunan before dhuhr and after dhuhr, and in the time of dhuhr, I can make with the tayammum of a fard salah. If I make tayammum to make nafal, I cannot make fard with that tayammum. Clear? I mentioned the dalail and things last time, this is just a review. Tayyib. What can you make tayammum with? It has to be something that is, first thing, tahur, and is clean. You cannot make tayammum with something najis. And if there is ground that has filth on it, you cannot. Mubah, it has to be permissible. You cannot steal, you cannot do haram to get it. Third, it has to be from the earth and have ghubar, have dust. You cannot take a nice, shining, clean rock, polished up, and then go make tayammum on it. Or a wall that has no dust on it. But if the wall has dust on it, you can put your hands on it. Even if the dust is not a lot, but if it gets on you, then you can make tayammum. If you have sadar or shawl, burda, if you have it, and it's very clean, just came out of the laundry or dry clean, you cannot make tayammum with it. But if it has dust on it, like most of our countries, when you have it and you're walking around, dust gets on it. When you hit it, if dust comes up, then you can make tayammum with it from the dust, from the ghubar. Tayyib. Tayyib. Next, very quickly, I want to revise the method of performing tayammum. Last time everybody got it wrong in the beginning, but inshallah today we will not. And this is not a thing to be shy. Tayyib, how do you perform tayammum? You make your niyyah, right? You say Bismillah. Tayyib, now what do? Yes, Yusuf. Darb on the earth where there's dust. How many times? Excellent. Then your face. Then and then your hands without a second darb. Yes. MashaAllah. La quwwata illa billah. The tayammum, once, face, hands. That's it. No second darb, no going to the elbows. This is the method of tayammum as mentioned in Sahih Ahadith in al-Bukhari and Muslim and what is well known from the authentic books of Hadith. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained in the Quran. Tayyib? Why? فَامْسَحُوا بِوُجُوهِكُمْ وَأَيْدِيَكُمْ. Aydiyakum, yani your hands. But how far do aydiya go? just here or here. Some people will say yad could go all the way to the marafiq. Like when you do wudu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayat having to do wudu also mentions aydiyakum, but then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues says what? Ila al-marafiq. If there is to go, then Allah made clarification in the ayat of wudu ila al-marafiq. But here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left it at yad. Now somebody may say that, but that could mean to the mirafiq. We say no, and we'll prove it from the Quran itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالصَّارِقُ وَالصَّارِقَ, يعني the thief, male and female. فَاقْطَعُوا أَيْدِيَهُمَا, يعني you cut their hands. Right? The sariq, sariqa, cut their hands. Aydiya, up to here. Where do you cut? From here? From here? Here it doesn't mention anything but yad. So where do you cut? Here. So from the Quran, it explains it itself. Next dalil, the hadith from Sahih al-Bukhari, where Ammar radiallahu anhu explained, يعني ضرب بكفيه ضربا على الأرض ثم نفضها ثم مسح بها ظهر الكفين ثم مسح بها الوجه. In al-Bukhari, hadith number 347, Ammar radiallahu anhu explained the wudu, and then he explained this is what the tayammum as explained by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He hit the earth once, just a darb, and then he blew on them. If there is a lot of dust, you can blow on it. Then he made masha, he made yani tayammum by wiping his kaffay, just his hands, and then his face. Now we mentioned in the last dars, the regular method is face first, then hands. But here Ammar radiyan is doing it in place of ghusl. And ghusl, you don't have tartib. For wudu, you have tartib. So if you do it for wudu, the face has to be wiped first, then the hands. But for ghusl, you can do hands first or face first. But what is important is this explains the ayah as well, that the meaning of hands is only to the kaf. Tayyib, somebody may say, what about the hadith? التيمم دربان ضرب للوجه وضرب لليد يدين إلى المرافقين. The hadith that the tayammum is two hits, one for the face and one for the hands up to the elbows. Well, what is well known, as al-Khattabi has mentioned, hadith ضعيف جدا. ليس فقط ضعيف لكن ضعيف جدا. It's extremely weak. Shaykh al-Albani and others have also graded to be da'if jiddan. Many of the earlier a'imma and ulama of takhrij like Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi and others have also pointed out that this is extremely weak. So this cannot be used as a dalil against a hadith al-Bukhari, against the Quran and the ayat as they are in themselves. And unfortunately, the Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanafi madhab, they all took that you make darb twice and do it all the way down. But what is clear min al-dalail and the opinion of the Hanabila is that one darb, face, hands. That's it. And to point out, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, he's Shafi'i, but even he took this opinion in his Sharh al-Bukhari. He says that the opinion of the Hanabila is stronger. Even though he's Shafi'i, he took the opinion. Ibn Abdul Barr al-Maliki, he's Maliki, but he also took this opinion due to the strength of the proof. Al-Babiri, he is one of the famous earlier scholars from the Ahnaf. He also took this opinion in his Inaya, Sharh al-Hidayah. Other a'imma and ulama from other madhahib also took this opinion to show the fact that it has clear and strong proofs. So what is correct? One darb, face, hands. If it's in place of wudu, you have to do it this way. If in place of ghusl, one darb, you can do hands first or face first. For ghusl, it doesn't matter. Tayyib. Now that we're done with review, we'll continue. Tayyib. وَيَبْتُلُ بِخُرُوجِ الْوَقْتِ. We mentioned earlier that if the time of that salah has exited, then the tayammum is no longer valid. You made tayammum for dhuhr, the time of asr comes in, you have to make a new tayammum. And there is a sarih dalil from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, mawqufan, the sahih sanad, where he clarifies this issue, and many other marfu' ahadith that point to it. Tayyib, anything that invalidates the wudu will invalidate tayammum as well. And you make tayammum for dhuhr, but then you go to the bathroom, qada al-haja, or you eat camel's meat, or you do something else that invalidates the wudu, it will invalidate your tayammum. You have to go to sleep for a long time, deep night sleep. As it invalidates wudu, it will invalidate your tayammum. Tayyib, if it was performed due to not having water and you find water, then that tayammum is invalid. And the hadith is clear, as we mentioned before, from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the sahih hadith. So what does that mean? You're in the desert on the 8th, car breaks down, no place to perform wudu. Now you make tayammum. There's no water at all. Here now you see a car pull up. MashaAllah, Brother Harun is coming and he has water and he tells you, Salaam alaikum, Habibi, how you doing? You're like, brother, I just made tayammum. And he's like, here's some water. Now, you didn't go to the bathroom, you didn't do anything, but now your tayammum no longer valid. Sarih, clear hadith on this. Now just because you got water, now you have to perform wudu with it. Tayyib. Now, what is from the sunan for tayammum is to wait later. Yani if the time of dhuhr comes in, it is from the sunnah, it's mustahab, that you wait till the later part of dhuhr. But it is permissible to do it in the beginning. You understand? Tayyib. You're in the desert, you're waiting for cars, there's no cars coming, you're on the 8th freeway, no water. The time of dhuhr comes in. What is mustahab? Is you don't pray right away. Regularly, it's mustahab to make salat ala awwali waqtiha, on its early time. But in the case of tayammum, it's better you wait until the later time of dhuhr, because you might find water and that would be better for you. Tayyib. But if the time of dhuhr is in and you made tayammum and you made salah, your salah is fine. If you found water after that, even if the time of dhuhr is still in, you do not need to repeat the salah. You understand that hukm? Now, if you do not find عدم الماء والتراب. Now this is a very interesting case. You're in a situation, may Allah protect us all. Let's say you are in prison. May Allah protect us all. And you're in a place where they put you in, like, for example, a glass box. And they have prisons like that, they put you in a glass box. Tayyib, there is no dust and there is no water. No dust, no water. Time for salah comes in. What do you do now? You make salah without wudu? Tayyib, if you are not able to use either one of them, then you have to still make your salah. Darura. But now, you only make فَصَلَّى فَرْض فَقَط. You only make your fard salah. Tayyib. Dhuhr comes in, you don't start making nawafil. Why? Because this is not a state that you can use for nawafil. But the fard you cannot do without, so you still make your fard salah ala halihi, yani upon the condition that is in. Whatever condition it may be. Need of ghusl, wudu, because you cannot do it. You have no other option. But you only pray your fard. Tayyib, let's say you pray your fard salah, there's no water, no turab. Now you go and a little while later, let's say maybe the next day, they release you, alhamdulillah, Allah freed you, and now you have water. Do you have to repeat those salawat? La. Because it was valid. At its time it was valid. So you do not need to repeat them. and you make that salah upon its fard of it. Yani you read al-Fatiha, that's it. Once or at least 1 or 2, 3 Subhan Rabbil Azim is allowed. You do not make extra adhkar and dua in that salah, you make it short because you can only do that which is fard. You cannot do nawafil without wudu or tayammum in that hal. Tayyib. And it doesn't matter whether it's in need of wudu or ghusl. Yani in both ways, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He makes that easy for us. Tayyib. I will mention a couple of things. One thing is usul you should learn. We said earlier that for tayammum, you need to say Bismillah, a tasmiyah. Tayyib. But some of the brothers who may not have, what happens with our brothers nowadays is, mashallah, a lot of them, they learn hadith and they learn, mashallah, some masail, but they don't learn usulul fiqh. They don't learn a lot of the depth of hadith, yani the depth of mustalah al-hadith or usul al-hadith, or for example, jarh wa ta'adil, ilm al-rijal. They don't, that stuff is like boring to them. So what do? They learn a little bit, and then they always want to argue. One time I was teaching this, and they said, bring me a hadith that mentions a tasmiyah with tayammum. So we explained to them that one of the usul the ulama of Islam have derived from the Quran and from Sahih Ahadith is al-badlu maqam al-mubdal. Yani al-badal, the one that you do in place of something, it is on the maqam, it is on the place of mubdal, what is replaced. And I'll give you a dalil for that from the hadith that we've been covering. What is the dalil? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained for us to wipe the face first, then the hands. But hadith of Ammar radiyan, he did it the opposite, and this is the way Rasulullah sallam taught him. Why? Because that was for ghusl. So even though we don't have a hadith that says for ghusl you don't need to do it this way, for wudu you do, but from the hadith we learn that every hadith where tayammum was made in place of wudu, the face was done first, then the hands. Because the badal, it's at the maqam of the mubdal. But the ahadith where tayammum was done for ghusl, the tartib was switched. Sometimes they mention the face first, sometimes the hand. Why? Because in ghusl, tartib is not fard. So from these sahih, clear ahadith, the ulama, and this is just one hadith, if you study usul al-fiqh in depth, there are many ahadith the ulama use, they bring an usul, a principle, that what is replaced takes the place or the ruling of that which is being replaced. So if tasmiyah, bismillah, is wajib in wudu, then it's wajib in tayammum. Tayyib? So this is the last of what I mentioned that I wanted to go over regarding tayammum, and inshallah we finish the bab. We will continue with the bab of cleaning najasat next Friday, inshallah ta'ala. Not coming next Friday, inshallah, we will continue with the bab of cleaning yourself from najasat. It's a very important bab. Why? Because if a dog licks the bowl, or licks your clothes, or licks you, or a pig, or some urine gets on you, or on your clothes, or on a place, or yani madi and wadi and money, how do you cleanse yourself? This is fardul ayn for us to know. So inshallah, it's a very important bab. We encourage everybody for next Friday after Maghrib, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khairan.